Jay-Z's attorney Alex Spiro is asking for legal sanctions against Tony Buzbee and also legal fees for what they call a frivolous lawsuit that was filed against Jay-Z in regards to the situation related to Sean P. Diddy Combs. Yo, let's get into some of this straight game.
Life is like playing cards. It's not what you dealt, but how you play it. Play each situation correctly. I remember they used to laugh at a brother.
Welcome back, y'all. Welcome back. It's your boy DELRAY Richardson, platinum artist, platinum songwriter, Straight Game TV. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate your time. Do me a favor, click on the thumbs up button. Also, subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And like I always say, if you want to be one of the first people notified when I drop some of this straight game, please do me a favor and click on what appears to be that little bell notification right below this video. I'm going to get right into it. Ladies and gentlemen, Jay-Z's attorney, Alex Spiro, has filed not only with the motion to dismiss, but including asking for legal sanctions against Tony Buzbee and the Buzbee law firm. We all know the situation that it's been highly broadcast throughout the media, if you will, the allegations in relation to Jay-Z. The judge in the case, had basically kind of lashed out at Alex Spiro, basically, for a lot of the language that he was using and a lot of the letters that he was writing and the filings that he was making, right? But I think to Jay-Z's lawyer's credit, just on the to have something filed against your client, which some most people, after hearing the young lady's explanation on NBC News, one would be angry. And like I said, once again, to be able to see it from the other person's perspective, I think is very important, if you will. And, Jay-Z's angry. And like I said, his lawyer is only trying to protect his client in this case. And like I said, once again, the reason why is very important. Alex Spiro basically filed a motion, to dismiss the case. But also in that motion, Alex Spiro is asking Judge Torres, they lost the bid to try to get the young lady to reveal her identity. And I don't think that's a bad situation for Jay-Z and them. I think it's a good situation for the young lady, because once again, I just think this case is going to be dismissed based on just all of the inconsistencies, man, and things that didn't happen. And they, and I went over those already, including band members that she said she talked to. They didn't actually broadcast the VMAs on the big Jumbotron screen that year. It was a lot of inconsistencies. The party, the big White House, all of these other things, Jay-Z and them being at a different location. Gene Deal just coming out the other day saying at that particular time, they weren't in limos. He was actually on the security team at that time, that they didn't take limos. The young lady said that the limo driver, and all of these things, like I said. So there's even more inconsistencies coming out. We're talking about from people who were there or around at that particular time, basically saying, there was no limos. They didn't take limos. And as a matter of fact, I would think the truth to that would be, even the night that Biggie was shot and killed in Los Angeles, they were driving a green suburban SUV, and Sean P. Diddy Combs was also in a suburban a truck that night, and that made the left onto I believe La Cienega, if you will, right before Biggie got caught at the light. And so that would be consistent with what Gene Deal was saying, just from that perspective, on speaking on that one situation. But Jay-Z's lawyer's basically saying, hey, you know what? There are too many inconsistencies. The young lady also admitted that there were some mistakes in her retelling of her story. And And also, the judge ruled that the accuser can remain anonymous in the case. Judge Jay-Z's lawyer, Spiro, argued that the accuser's lawyer, Tony Buzbee, who already has a defamation case pinned against him from Carter, is accusing Carter of a horrific crime without adequately vetting the allegations. That is a fact. Tony Buzbee has admitted that he didn't actually vet the case like one would vet the case as a lawyer filing something as serious as this. He's already admitted it and said when the case was handed to him by somebody else. We don't know if that's true. All we know is at the time of this case being filed, and Tony Buzbee had come out and said that they were continuing to try to vet her story, and that the young lady is telling her story to the best of her recollection. And that's one that, you know, when a lawyer wants to distance himself from the client and what the client is saying and the actual allegations that were placed in the lawsuit, you know, one would say that, you know, hey, you know, she's telling me the story to the best of her recollection. So, you know, you can understand a lot of legal maneuvering and trying to distance oneself from the situation at that time. Like I said, this is a horrific crime, man. It's a horrific crime being alleged, you know. And like I say, a lot of people don't really understand that you can do things under the guise of being a lawyer and all of this, but karma is undefeated. So if there's any malicious or ill intent to do this against Jay-Z and knowing that it ain't true, then karma, just the nature of karma and what that brings, yeah, you know, it's crazy. It's crazy. And like I said, karma is undefeated, you know, when you deal with life and life's experiences and things like that. So it seems to me that this was kind of like a money grab, right? But in the new motion to dismiss that Jay-Z filed, the request to impose monetary sanctions or fee award against Buzbee and the Buzbee law firm for alleging facts without a sufficient investigation or by failing to withdraw those allegations once it is clear that they are false or exceedingly unlikely to be true. So basically, you know, after the young lady spoke on NBC News, and all of the inconsistencies that were in her story, like I said, the timeline didn't match up. People said she talked to at this alleged party or whatever that she attended didn't happen. They weren't there. You know, the alleging that, you know, Sean P. Diddy Combs and, you know, Celebrity B or whatever, and which was basically referring to Jennifer Lopez. See, they were going to try to bring Jennifer Lopez into this situation also, but that couldn't happen. Like I said, once Jay-Z began to fight, then, you know, now they begin to start to think about it like, man, we can't bring Jennifer Lopez. It's a little too much. And now, once again, it's already unbelievable. It would really be unbelievable then. Like, you know, to believe that Jennifer Lopez sat there and watched Sean P. Diddy Combs and Jay-Z allegedly do this, do something crazy to a 13-year-old autistic child. You know, it is sickening. It's sickening. And you know what I mean? So when you think about that aspect of it, you know, you know, one can remove themselves all they want to and you know, the legal maneuvering, you know, to the best of her recollection and all of this. This is, you know, taking advantage of somebody who is who has autism. And it's sickening. And it doesn't even make any kind of sense. Like I said, when you think about the big picture and what was hoping to have happened was that Jay-Z would be so embarrassed, that he would want to settle the case. But it's simply not that. It's simply not that. And so, you know, the legal maneuvering and the back and forth and all of that stuff, it's kind of sad. But like I said, Jay-Z's lawyer, along with the motion to dismiss, is basically asking for monetary sanctions or a fee award against Tony Buzbee and the Buzbee law firm for basically alleging facts without a sufficient investigation or failing to withdraw those allegations once it is clear that they are false or exceedingly unlikely to be true. And the reason why that I don't think Tony Buzbee has done that yet is because of the fact that Jay-Z has a defamation lawsuit against him. And it would prove that what Jay-Z was saying and his lawyer was saying all this time was right. And it would prove that the lawsuit was intentional and frivolous and defaming, all in the same breath, if you will. So, right, and so Tony Buzbee, he had fired back and basically said that his team would be addressing the utter lack of merit with his filing, meaning Jay-Z's filing with the court rather than with the press. And so now, once again, Tony Buzbee is saying, I guess the motion to dismiss and the motion for sanctions has no merit. And once again, 1 minute Tony Buzbee wants to be out here in front of the news, addressing it when he think that he can fight it in the news and he can try to intimidate in the news, right? And it doesn't work. Now, all of a sudden, he wants to now deal with it with the court. He doesn't want to say anything like he's been saying before. And I find that a bit hypocritical, but like I said, lawyers do what lawyers do. And some lawyers are great at doing what they do, and they do it within the parameters of the law, making sure that they have a solid case, making sure that they vetted the case properly, so all lawyers are not clumped into one box, if you will. From my perspective, I think you have some great lawyers out here who really get out here and fight the good fight for their clients and really making sure that they're standing on the right side. So when they present their case in front of a judge or jury, right, their case is clear and concise and understood based on the facts, right? Jay-Z, on the other hand, his lawyer's saying, hey, you know what? They didn't properly vet this case. After seeing the interview, they didn't drop the case. They're still moving forward. Tony Buzbee fires back and says that Jay-Z's motion and his lawyer, the motion that his lawyer filed, is the utter lack of merit with his filing with the court rather than with the press, that Tony Buzbee is going to address the utter lack of merit in Jay-Z's filing, right? Jay-Z's lawyer also said, and his firms, he basically added, no, this is Tony Buzbee said, Mr. Spiro and his firms are paid by the hour. So they file a lot of junk with the court. With each frantic filing, his team reeks of desperation. He and his team think the laws and rules don't apply to them. They are flat wrong. They also think that they can bully or intimidate counsel for victims by filing meritless and frivolous pleadings full of lies and half-truths. He concluded they are dead wrong. We won't be bullied or intimidated ever. Now, to that I say, I don't think Jay-Z's trying to bully anybody. I think Jay-Z's fighting for his reputation. It's just that simple. Somebody make frivolous a claim about you, you know it to be frivolous. See, this is where this is where you show that it's frivolous. Let me break this down for you. So now, you have a client that you represent. The client is telling you something happened, right? You as a lawyer, you say, well, okay, cool. You vetted thoroughly, which wasn't done according to Tony Buzbee, basically saying that he was continuing to vet her story. Now, you can't continue to vet a story that is adamantly told to you and then go file a lawsuit based on the facts that you deem that the client is telling you in the lawsuit. You can't continue to vet that. What do you mean? Based on what? Based on what new evidence, right? The young lady said that it was a limo driver. Gene Deal came out and said that they weren't taking limos at that time. I just ran past you that when Biggie was killed in Los Angeles, they weren't in a limo. They were in a green SUV, as well as Puffy was in an SUV that night also. Once again, so that would be consistent with what was going on back during that time. Even though it was a few years later, they weren't taking limos, right? Number two, Gene Deal also said that the limo drive, there would be you couldn't get into the party or any kind of party through no limo driver and him getting you into some kind of party. Once again, the party that this young lady is talking about didn't happen. She wasn't at no party. She wasn't at no after party with Jay-Z, J-Lo, Sean P. Diddy. She was not there. They got pictures from the parties that Jay-Z and them were at and Puffy was at after that night. after the VMAs. Plain and simple. It's just that simple. She wasn't there. They didn't meet her at no White House with no U-shaped driveway. It didn't happen. I'm going to say it didn't happen. It didn't happen. Based on the fact that the young lady's father said he doesn't even remember, after she said that her father came back and he doesn't even remember coming to pick his 13-year-old autistic daughter up at approximately 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, right? Or 6 o'clock in the morning from 5 hours away. His 13-year-old autistic child, the father says he does not remember picking his daughter up, y'all. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not talking about Tony Buzbee, no lawsuit he filed. I'm talking about what she said. Now, as a lawyer, after hearing all of these inconsistencies, after hearing all of this and what she said, it would be my duty to say, hey, you know what? I'm not going on, I'm not going to proceed with this case based on her testimony. Once again, Tony Buzbee has not done that. And in not doing that, his credibility is in question. Because either you're a lawyer who is on the side of truth and facts, or a lawyer who, what Jay-Z lawyer and them is saying, is out for money and fame. You can't have it both ways. You simply can't. But some people think that they can until they're proven wrong. Now, that's the reason why I say that, right? So in any good lawyer or a lawyer worth their credibility would have dropped this case already. It's not about Jay-Z trying to bully, trying to think that the law doesn't apply to him or the law doesn't apply to, it's not none of that. That's just rhetoric. That's just to try to create animosity for Jay-Z because he's a star, he has money and all of those things, which he rightfully earned on his own. You understand what I'm saying? And so when Tony Buzbee talks about, he said they are dead wrong, we won't be bullied or intimidated. It's not intimidation. Jay-Z didn't file the lawsuit. So Jay-Z wasn't trying to intimidate anybody, right? I'm talking about the facts, and once the young lady had went and she had spoke out from that perspective. So now, when you deal with it from that perspective, it's just simple and plain. Because Judge Torres previously condemned Jay-Z's lawyer for his relentless filing of combative motions containing inflammatory language and ad hominem attacks on the accuser's lawyer, Tony Buzbee. Spiro doubles down in his claim, and so in this recent motion to dismiss, despite the other filings that Alex Spiro had made in his motion to dismiss, Jay-Z lawyer, he doubles down on his claim in this new motion, claiming there are many inconsistencies and outright impossibilities in Jane Doe's allegations. And that's true. And like I said, once again, I understand the judge's position, right? But a lawyer fighting rightfully for their client is going to double and triple down on the facts. One can say, yeah, Tony Buzbee, he's saying this about Tony Buzbee. Yeah, but at the end of the day, once again, Tony Buzbee also has a responsibility to be able to say, hey, you know what? I can't go with this case. Not to keep throwing out, my client, and trying to establish it in the media that, his client is sticking by her story, based on to the best of her recollection. You understand what I'm saying? So, you get that out there, you get that out there in hopes that, when you do have to come to dropping the case, or you lose the case, and basically you can hang your hat on, well, I fought in the case, best of my client's ability. It's a shame that we didn't prevail, and so on and so forth. But when everybody has sat back and listened to the interview she did, she even admitted she made mistakes. There's no limo driver. There's none of the things that she said happened. There are at least 5 or 6 different inconsistencies in her case. And Jay-Z's lawyer is fighting to point that out to the judge in the motion to dismiss, right? Basically, Jane Doe, who filed her original lawsuit against Sean P. Diddy Combs in October, once again, the lawsuit filed in October against Sean P. Diddy Combs, right? They go look at pictures they go look at pictures. They also, and I'm not even sure if this lawsuit in particular that Gene Deal was talking about on the Art of Dialogue, I'm not even sure this lawsuit was filed by Tony Buzbee. But let me tell you, if it is, this is how it's going down, right? So there was a lawsuit also filed by a girl who alleged that something happened to her at the situation when Sean Puffy Combs threw the party and the people were trampled upon and people had passed away. They died, right? There's now a lawsuit being alleged by someone who claims to have been there, right? And that Sean P. Combs allegedly did something to this young lady there. This is another lawsuit. So now, you notice the series of things being done with these lawsuits? They're picking dates and times where Sean P. Combs was known to have something public going on and trying to allege that something happened to someone at each of these events, right? So much so going after large pockets and then now trying to associate Jay-Z after the lawsuit was originally filed in October against Sean P. Diddy Combs, refiled with Carter's name in early December, right? The money grab. So now Jay-Z and then to create this crazy ass story about how I snuck out the window of my house at about 2:00 in the evening to get down to New York City from Rochester, New York, 5-hour drive. My girlfriend who gave me the ride, she's not living no more. Can't question her. When she got back in the car, alleging her father, who said he didn't remember coming pick his 13-year-old autistic daughter up from any kind of event like that. He would have remembered that, he said, but I don't remember that. Coming to pick him up, and then they claim that the father had some kind of drug problem. That's why he don't remember. You understand what I'm saying? You know, this is crazy. It is sickening. You know, and I wanted to bring this up. This is the same thing that they did to Emmett Till. This is the same thing they did to Emmett Till. Y'all better pay attention, man. Remember the white lady said that Emmett Till whistled at her and then came out later on before she died and said she lied about the whole thing? Y'all better pay attention, man. Pay attention to what's going on. This has happened throughout history involving black men. You understand what I'm saying? You know, and unfortunately, the young lady who was at 13 autistic and out and father don't remember come picking her up, she happens to be Caucasian. Come on, y'all. Come on, y'all. You know, like I said, once again. So, you know, and like I said, after being filed in October, they then refiled it in December, adding Jay-Z's name. Issued a statement immediately after. He referred to the claims as a blackmail attempt. Jay-Z called it a blackmail attempt, right? Blackmail, get it? You know what I mean? But we know what the blackmail means. But a blackmail attempt. While a separate statement from its entertainment company, Roc Nation, referred to Buzbee as a 1-800 lawyer who is in pursuit of money and fame. So like I said, based on everything that we know involving this situation, based on everything that we know involving and what we know about what we've heard so far, right? You know, if I'm a member of the jury and I'm listening, there is no case here. There is no case here. There's no case here at all. And like I said, once again, you know, then you hear people coming out talking about other stuff in regard. We're talking, let's not get off the facts. Like I said, people so busy, they want to jump from one thing to another as if they're relatable. No. Something that is not true cannot be relatable to something that is true. You can't have it, you know, two things can be true at once, but those two can't be true at the same time. One thing that is not true cannot be related to something that's true. Those two can't be true at the same time. One is a lie and one is the truth. And it's just as simple as that. And so, like I said, you know, we're going to see what happens with this, man. But, yeah, it's kind of sad, like I said, but I think of Emmett Till when I thought of this, and it just came to me as I was talking to you guys. You know, I thought about Emmett Till and what happened to him and what they did to Emmett Till, you know, and when his mother was like, nah, we're not going to hide his face. We're going to show his face in the casket. Like I said, like I told you before, karma is undefeated. undefeated. And guess what? There ain't a law that the U.S. government can make. There ain't a law that nobody can make. There ain't a law that nobody who has enough money, billionaire, trillionaire, whatever, can stop karma from delivering what karma delivers. Your boy DELRAY, straight gang.